have to wait a bit since it's still early, and I do not know if Marek, if it is he does he reply some mail?
No, he
No,
don't
he's
reply
coming.
me.
He's
Okay, he
coming.
come back, attendee.
He's coming.
Yes.
Mary, could you wait a bit? I will try to invite you as a panelist. Yeah, it will take some time.
Okay.
Could Mariwan, could you help us? Please upgrade Marik to be our panelist. Could Mariwan? Yes, no, okay. Patita. Our speaker is coming.
ได้ค่ะอาจารย์สักครู่ค่ะ
Thank you. She said that. Okay, Sensei. Wait a minute. Sensei. Today is Friday and it's a good time. So we will spend maybe half an hour. Okay. Okay. Yeah, he's coming. Hello. Oh, not yet. Yesterday we spent maybe 8 minutes before our speakers can be the panelist. Here we go. Hello, Marik. How are you?
2, 3, 4. Can you hear me at all?
Yes, sure.
Nice and clear.
All right, cool.
Okay, great. Okay, can start now. Good evening, everyone. Today is the pre-RoboCup events for the RoboCupJunior Soccer League. We have Marik here, and I'm Vara. Okay, I'm the chair of the local organizing committees for the RoboCup Juniors. And we have here is อาจารย์คทาเทพสวัสดีพิสาร who will chair the RoboCup Juniors Soccer League. So the responsibilities for the local organizer is try to help the technical committees, executive committee, and trustee, as well as the participants to have a great time in RoboCup competitions. We have here with Marik, who will give us an overview of the soccer league. Before we come back to Marik, I will share the video from the trustee Amy. Amy will give a talk every day, and you will notice that it looks like she really present. I mean, in real time. Okay.
Yes.
Yesterday is okay. I will share the screen and then give an overview of the RoboCup Juniors. Okay.
Hello,
Can
my
you
name
hear
is Amy
correctly?
Eguchi. I am an assistant teaching professor of computer science education at University of California, San Diego in the USA. I am also one of the RoboCup Federation trustee representing RoboCup Junior. And I'm sorry that I'm not joining in this very important pre-RoboCup event live with you, but I'm hoping to give you a little bit of information about what RoboCupJunior is and how it started and what kind of leagues that we have before we deep dive into the league introduction, which will be done by the league members. And so RoboCupJunior for us is a pathway to a technology-intensive future. So we are helping our young generations of students to learn to be able to be tech-savvy, enabled citizen of the future who can contribute to create also effectively use the technology to better our lives of the future. So RoboCupJunior, how it actually started at the beginning. So RoboCupJunior began in 1998 with a demonstration at RoboCup 98 in Paris. And then the next year, RoboCup 1990 in Stockholm, we had a first interactive RoboCupJunior workshop. And then the following year, that's the inaugural year for RoboCupJunior. First RoboCupJunior event was held in Melbourne in 2000. So this is 23rd year of holding RoboCupJunior. And then back then, there are about 100 students participated from like 25 schools, mainly from Australia, but also from Germany and the USA. But then now we have about 200 teams joining our competition every year. So we have grown tremendously. And what is RoboCup? RoboCup is part of RoboCupJunior is part of RoboCup. So it's a RoboCup league. And RoboCupJunior really focuses on project-oriented educational initiative, which is a sponsoring local, regional, international robotics event and serving young students up through age 19. At the international competition, however, the youngest students need to be 14. So that's the youngest age who can participate in the international competition. But local competition, we also have super regional competitions. Those are open to younger generations. RoboCup offers several challenges, but each emphasizing cooperative, problem-based, problem solving, and the task achievement aspects of the learning. So as you can see, the main focus is education, not the competition. We have 3 RoboCupJunior leagues. One is soccer, another one is rescue, and the third one is on stage. And each league have different focus. So the first one that I want to talk about is soccer. Soccer is the same as Major League. Major League has soccer competition, the Junior League has soccer competition. We have 2 sub-leagues under the RoboCupJunior soccer competition. One is called lightweight, the other one is called open. The differences are the sizes and then weight and the voltage of the motors and all the electronic stuff on the robot. So lightweight, using a specific ball that emits IR signal. So instead of using a regular ball itself emit light so that's easy for the sensors or the robots to find. And the size of the robot is up to 22 centimeter diameter and height. It can weigh up to 1.1 kilograms, so it's lighter. Ball capturing zone is up to 3 centimeter, and you can use batteries up to 12 normal voltage. Open, on the other hand, uses a passive ball, brightly colored orange ball at this point. Size is up to 18 centimeter, height and diameter. Weight is up to 2.2 kilograms. It's a little bit heavier. Ball capturing zone is less 1.5 centimeter, and the voltage is up to 15. So that's the soccer league. And rescue, again, same as Major League. Major League has rescue robot, also rescue simulation. RoboCupJunior has 3 sub-leagues under rescue. One is rescue line, which is a line following event. So autonomous robot follows a black line while overcoming different programs, different module field, different obstacles, different patterns. So they have to navigate through the terrain to get to the evacuation zone to find the victims. Rescue maze, again, also autonomous. So RoboCupJunior robots are all autonomous. Once you hit start, you can't touch it. It has to make all the decisions by itself using the sensory inputs. So it goes through the maze. This picture actually shows the maze arena, a little bit old, but there are different victims you can find. Your robot has to find to go through the arena. So this models a house. So imagine your robot is inside of the house and then trying to rescue different people, animals, you name it. So that's rescue maze. Now we have rescue simulation, which you don't have to have a physical robot, but create a algorithm to solve different programs in the virtual environment. So that's the simulation league. The last one is called OnStage. And an OnStage is the most open-ended competition of all RoboCupJunior. It invites teams to develop a creative autonomous robot that they design, build, and program. And the focus is really to create a robotics performance up to 2 minutes, so 1 minute to 2 minutes, using different technology to engage the audience. As I said, this is really open-ended, and it encourages teams to be really creative, innovative, and using the technology to create really innovative, engaging, entertaining performance. The performance doesn't have to be like sort of a dance performance. It used to be called dance, and then it was focusing mainly on stage dance performance. But then there are many forms of performances that we started to see. So we open up the competition to accommodate different performances that we can see. Again, we really want to encourage students to be creative, and then showing what they can do with a robotics technology. Now, OnStage is the only competition among us RoboCupJunior to encourage human-robot interaction. So others like rescue and a soccer, as I said, once you hit start, you can't touch the robots. But OnStage, well, you can't touch the robot, but you can interact with robot to create really interactive performance, as you may say. And all the leagues, OnStage, soccer, and rescue, we started to see, because of the development of sensors and cameras, we started to see some teams sort of incorporate or integrate AI technology into their robots' performance. So, for example, for soccer, in order for the robots to effectively find a ball, you need the camera to actually find the ball. So to be able to identify the ball, then there is a way to use AI technology to identify the balls, similar to the rescue maze. Rescue maze robots incorporate camera into their robot creation to effectively find the victims. On stage is open too, so there have been some teams really creatively incorporate AI technology into their robotics performance. So that's what the RoboCupJunior is about, and it's as same as every year. I am so looking forward to seeing the team's performance. Doesn't matter which league you're participating in. So get ready and participate in RoboCupJunior, RoboCup 2022, especially in RoboCupJunior, the competition. Thank you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Okay. It's great to have Amy with us to present the overview of the RoboCupJuniors, and it's our honor to have Marek here. Marek is the RoboCup Junior Soccer's Executive Committees, and he will give a talk a bit on the RoboCup Soccer for this year competition. Marek, please.
Sure. Awesome. Well, so first of all, thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you all for coming. I guess it's tough for me to see well, or even sort of imagine where you might be or what the time might be where you are. But if you are in Thailand and it's 8 p.m., I greatly appreciate you really well staying around for a bit of a chat. I am indeed Marek. In my day-to-day work, I happen to actually work on this WebEx thing we are currently using. Well, not really on the WebEx thing, but in WebEx there are these WebEx apps, and one of them is Slido, and Slido is this thing that we use for audience interaction. Had I known we would be using WebEx, we would set it up, but perhaps next time. Anyhow, in there I happen to be responsible for data and the R&D this company makes, but that's not all that important. The important thing today is RoboCupJunior Soccer, and the reason why I'm in here and sort of representing it is that when I was younger, it was a place where I learned quite a bit about doing interesting things with technology and sort of doing them on schedule because you either play or not, and doing them such that there is lots of fun when it comes to sort of while you are doing it. So I guess what I would like us to go through very quickly is it would go a bit deeper into what Amy was talking about with regards to the two leagues that are there in RoboCup Junior. I will perhaps show you a bit of a video of what it looks like, very short, a shortish one. We can perhaps talk a bit about the rules, and then finally I can perhaps point you to a couple of resources so that if you were to start or somehow sort of pick this up, where would you even go look? Something like that. Finally, I'm not sure to what extent is this possible within WebEx or whether I'm sort of changing the format massively, but if there are any questions, thoughts, comments, anything, if anyone would like to ask about anything, there doesn't seem to be all too many of us in here. I'm happy to take any questions at any time. I guess chat works, so in the absolute worst case scenario, feel free to sort of just send it to chat, and I'll try to try to help if at all possible. Sounds good?
Sounds good.
All right, cool.
Okay.
Let me see if I can share my screen here.
Okay.
Awesome.
It's come up nicely.
No.
All right, awesome, cool. So what we are looking at are the rules of RoboCup Junior for, well, it's 2021, but the reality is this will change very quickly towards the end of the year. The thing is, we haven't really had international competition last year for obvious reasons. It's pretty difficult to have in a global pandemic, but still, the rules haven't really changed. There are only a couple of things that did, and we'll talk all about them. But like, I wanted us to sort of start with this. Like, this is what the sort of field, when you visualize it, of RoboCup Junior Soccer looks like. So what do we have? We have 2 robots on one side, 2 robots on the other. We have a ball. There are 2 types, exactly as Amy mentioned, and we have goals, which are color coded. One is yellow, one is blue, and we have the sort of white lines that you would expect in a sort of in a soccer field, right? We have the central circle and these nice these interesting points, sort of these interesting black points, to which I'll get in a bit. So the aim of this whole sort of category or competition is for 2 robots to play against 2 robots and play soccer. How do we play soccer? Well, basically by making it so that we place this ball to one of these goals, and by doing that, we sort of shoot the goal. In the past, the movement of the robots was relatively unrestricted on the field. In the newest version of the rules, which we are looking at, the robots cannot fully go beyond the white lines. So that means they cannot go fully beyond the outer lines, and also cannot go fully into the penalty area. It's obviously not the same as in FIFA soccer, but there is a good reason for it. It's so that you sort of have to do the defense in between the penalty area and or sort of not really within the penalty area, but outside of it. And we basically hope, we haven't really seen it done, but we hope this will lead to a bit more interesting gameplay. So I guess I could go through the rules and whatnot, and like regulations and all that, but as the saying goes, one picture or like one video now is probably way better than many words. And I strongly, we'll see to what extent will you see it. Hopefully it won't be such a big deal. But like, I've opened up a bit of a video. This is from Sydney in 2019. The finals of the lightweight division, sort of the lightweight league, the one that Amy talked about. So these robots play with an IR ball. They are relatively lighter, meaning they are not all that heavy, and they use a bit less of a voltage if their batteries. So let me see if I can sort of run this, and if and hopefully it doesn't sort of break up all too much for you. What does it look like? Is it sort of all right-ish? Hopefully it is. Okay, so as you can see, the robots essentially try to follow the ball, and there are these people on the left and right. They are called referees, who try to sort of make it so that the game sort of progresses. And what we are seeing here is that this is the final. So much of the game is very, very tactical. The robots are trying to kind of position themselves to a position where it makes tactical sense to be. And as you can see, many of them are relatively fast and are capable of moving around the field, fairly quickly. What the referees here oftentimes do is that they take the ball and put it back into the field, mostly when it goes out. That's somewhat difficult from the FIFA soccer. In there, the sort of the players, the those that actually kicked it out, or the opposite team would kick it in. In here we have the referees do it. So I hope I can sort of give you a bit of an jump to a bit of an interesting part. The gameplay of its own is played on within the blue part of the field, and as you could see, there was a goal in there, but it was called off mostly because there were two robots covering the goal. As you can see, the field is not really the same as we saw in the image, mostly because there is the penalty area is not marked white, but it will be in this year's rules, or the rules that we will play with this year. So as you saw already a couple of times, the referees here basically moved the ball back into some sort of a position. It seemed sort of, and that is the case. There are 4 sort of neutral spots on the field, and in these neutral spots are the places where the referees will put the ball back once it gets what we call out of bounds, outside of the playing area of the field. So that's I would say the primary sort of reason for the referees being there. But as you can see, if the game goes very, very quickly, well, I have it's one heck of a reason to there is a good reason for that. So as you can see, what we see now, we have 2 robots on one side and 1 on the other. That can sometimes happen. Most often this is due to the fact that if a robot goes beyond the white line, it's penalized and goes fully, meaning that its whole body is outside of the white line of the internal playing field. It goes out for 1 minute. So that's a pretty steep penalty, and then we have this interesting sort of gameplays in which there are 2 robots against 2 robots, and now the other robots was also called off. The captain of the team can sort of call off the robot if it's damaged, but it is the referee's sort of call. The referee has to okay the decision to take a robot out. So I guess that would be the standard of the gameplay, or like that would be the most the most straightforward parts of the gameplay. And we don't really have to spend all that much time on this video. I was hoping I could show you a video of the Open League. I couldn't really find any that would be like this interesting. So sorry about that. But the massive difference is that the Open League is way slower. And the reason is that we use right now orange golf balls instead of this particular ball that these robots use in here. Let me talk a bit about that. The ball you are seeing in here is an IR ball, meaning there is IR, similarly to a TV radio control. There's IR signal coming out of it, and the robots essentially, but I mean, you don't see it, I don't see it, but the robots have sensors that can pick it up, and thanks to sort of seeing the intensity of that IR light, they sort of know where the ball is located, and thanks to that sort of information, they can then follow it. In the other league, in the Open League, we are using orange golf balls. That's not emitting anything, so you as a robot have to somehow pick up where the ball is, where the goal is, and sort of try to shoot the ball into the goal. And so that can sort of nicely move us towards the I guess second point I was asked to talk about the technical sort of challenges that are part of this. So one of them is, how do you even know like where to sort of position yourself such that you can then fairly easily sort of push the ball to one of the goals. And for that, many teams would use sort of sonar sensors or all sorts of ultrasonic sensors. that basically can get you this sort of information. Many of the teams would use a compass so that you sort of can remember to which side you are sort of located. It's being frowned upon from people like me. I believe that's cheating. You as a human don't really know where the north is, and yet you can navigate fairly nicely. So it doesn't really sound like a nice solution, but it certainly works, and it's something that I could recommend teams to start up with. So compass, ultrasonic sensors, you sense the ball, you sense where the ball is, and with this sort of information, even ignoring everyone around you, even your own sort of robot, you can fairly nicely at least sort of try to push the ball inside, well, at least away from your goal. Perhaps it won't really score, like you won't really score, but at the very least, it will be far from your own goal. Then there are these white lines, so you have to sort of sense the fact that you are, well, at least around them, so you can go away. And for that, many teams use sort of light sensors that look at the ground, sort of at the carpet that these games are being played on. And then, obviously, for the orange ball, many teams use cameras with oftentimes custom processing to sort of locate the orange ball, locate the other opponents, locate various features of the field. The sort of beginning teams often use what's called a pixie cam. This is not an advertisement of any source. It's just that's the cheapest thing that's available or generally available. But the more sort of advanced teams very normally have their own data sets and like share data sets of data which they label, and sort of they train machine learning models to do the detection on things like Google Coral or other sort of other appliances that can do real-time object detection on an embedded system like this. So at some point it gets fairly complicated and fairly interesting. I'm just saying that these are high school students that are doing this, and if they are able to do this, I'm pretty sure you are as well. It's not all that complicated. It only looks relatively difficult. So yes, we even do, or the teams in here do quite a bit of computer vision. At least the better ones. At least if they well look, it's not just about the robots really scoring the goals, although that's very nice. This is a technical competition, so very interesting technical things for technical problems. That's what this challenge is about. So computer vision, large part of it. One last thing is that since you have multiple robots here, communicating in between them is also fairly important. So for that, many teams use Bluetooth or all sorts of the smallish, standard smallish radios. Our aim long term is for us to put together a sort of a common protocol that everyone would use. And in a large competition such as the one we hope to hold in Thailand, we would then sort of get the teams together from across all around the world, from various continents, from various countries. They would each provide one robot, and we would have 5-on-5 games on much larger fields like 6 times the size of the field we are seeing in here, where it gets really interesting, especially the communication part, and more importantly, it gets way more funny, like the whole gameplay. Ends up being very interesting. So with that, I guess I would say that my sort of pitch for let's try this out would be covered. I have a couple other things opened up in here. One that I would strongly recommend you check out is this awesome RoboCupJunior soccer repository. We have a large amount of sort of links in here to previous posters and sort of recordings of teams that did interesting stuff. You can even see who won the championship and so on and so forth. Which also brings us to the sort of the nature of this whole thing. although we are competing, or the teams are competing against one another, the whole understanding is we share the stuff that helped us win, so that everyone gets ahead. And in that sort of a way, we have lots of resources in here. So if you want to try, if you want to sort of start, this is perhaps the best way. The best way to do so. And also, don't be afraid to sort of reach out. There is a RoboCupJunior forum, which we are trying to keep sort of alive. So if you have any questions, thoughts, comments, it would be awesome if we ever sort of run into you in there. It's basically everyone's very friendly. At least that's my assessment, and that's why I stay around. So I guess that's me. Thank you very much again for listening, for being around. And if you have any questions, thoughts, comments, or anything, I'd be happy to address them.
Yes, any questions, comments from the participants? You can also write it down in the chat box if you have questions. Wow. If not, I would like to ask Ajahn Krathathep to welcome everyone as there's questions. Will there be online competitions this year? Marek, what do you say?
It is a good question. I at least had I actually had it on another tab. I was hoping it's coming. So yes, we also have a sort of simulated environment. So let me share the screen again.
Okay.
Since when you are within a global pandemic, this is basically not really possible. But but we can do something like this. We can perhaps recreate the same environment, or sort of similar environment within a simulated within a simulator. The one we use is called VBots. And yes, last year we ran a sort of fully simulated environment in which you sort of just programmed your robots. Everyone had the same robots. It was only programming that made the difference. And the answer to your question is yes. We do expect you to we do expect to run this as well, because perhaps not everyone will be able to make it to Thailand, although we would very much like to do so. So we will have a sort of a simulated challenge. It will be similar to last year, but your program from last year won't work because the simulator has changed. We have new sensors and interesting new stuff for you to play with. Many of the sensors I talked about in the open and lightweight part are now sort of an option within the simulator. So if you'd like, go check it out. Just Google RoboCup Soccer Simulator or RCJ Soccer Sim, and you'll get to it. I'll also share the links perhaps in chat. I like all these links I'm having in here in the chat so that you can check them out. So long story short, yes, we will have Soccer Sim. But like it's still not all that clear what sort of what will it look like. We currently are holding a sort of demo competition with the Soccer Sim. So if you'd like to come, feel free to go to the forum. There is a whole topic on it, and you can register for the sort of the demo competition, which is sort of a pre-trial, sort of a trial with the same simulator that we'll use later on in July.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? Keep finger crossed. I would like to see you all in Bangkok. Any other questions? Okay. Ajahn Krathathep, could you welcome the participants, hopefully in July, and please.
Okay. Welcome everybody. I very proud when I heard from Ajahn Hora invite me to join this activity, because of a very long time ago, I think my student ever tried to invent and try to build the robot for kick like a soccer game. And that time I spend my time too much for take care and give the many knowledge to them. And in the final, they can build 2 or 3 robots and can make the good thing in my department. And that time, no chance to go to the competitive or some contest because there's some problem that time. And next a few years after that, my student one, he already gone because of some accident. But if he still live it until now, he really glad, sure, because now RoboCupJunior and can happen in Thailand. So for me, I think this is my job, work for my student too, and I will work for everybody here. I hope all participants can join us for make this competitive accomplished and have a nice time. So on July, about that, I think that I hope have many team from around the world, maybe many countries, and especially in Asia, have an opportunity to go and work something with RoboCup. And I feel very good when I meet Malik, and I can saw some data or history from him, and I think this is a very, very great time. He advise and give a very good experience. So this is a nice time, and I think I will push it and help everybody. If you have something or some question, you can ask or send some message or information to us. We will manage and clear. Okay. Thank you, Malik, again for come and speak and give a talk about everything. I think everybody will send the question to you again. Sure. So thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Vara, I believe you're muted.
And now have any question? Oh, well, Malik.
Muted. Okay, Marik, post something on the chat box. You can copy the links and enjoy all the information overloaded. Okay. Well,
Just a
any
question.
other Yes.
How can teams qualify for the competition? It's a good question. Normally, it depends on which one. But in general, the qualification goes through the regions. So every region, basically meaning every country, will have its own qualification process, and they will see the best teams from their region to the international competition. I would strongly suggest you reach out to your regional representative for RoboCup Junior and RoboCup Junior Soccer. Worst case scenario, feel free to sort of go on the forum, write something up. We'll try to sort of route it to the correct person. But in principle, regional representatives are the best ways for teams to qualify. With the sort of simulated environment, that's a bit different, but still, that's still to be decided. So just keep sort of keep on the lookout. But in principle, if you have a more concrete question, if you have a concrete league you would like to sort of qualify for, feel free to use the forum. Well, it's perhaps the best way to go about it.
Thank you. That's a good questions. Yeah, we still have time. If you have any questions or comments, please write down and then we try to answer it. Okay, well then. So this might come to a close, and I would like to thank everyone, especially Ajahn Khathatep and Marik, to make this pre-RoboCup happen. Also, thanks to Amy, who made a nice video presentation on an overview of the RoboCup Junior Soccers. Tomorrow, we will have the pre-RoboCup events for the RoboCup Junior Rescue, same times, different channel. Okay. Thank you, everyone, and have a nice day and good night for people on Thailand. And I hope Mari come back and then enjoy his work. This is afternoon, right? At your place, Malik. Yeah. Okay. Bye bye then. Okay. Good night, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye. Yes.